Hello, website friends, it's Pauline here. Today, let's look at 3 things that I consistently see are tripping my clients up when they start to make website edits themselves inside Squarespace. So this is a test page. This is Squarespace version 7.1, and this is a fluid engine section. So I'm in edit mode. And if you're familiar with Fluid Engine, you will know that the best tip is to press G on your keyboard. That turns on this editing grid so you can see exactly how much space each of your content blocks is taking up. So when I press G again, the grid disappears. G on your keyboard should get this grid to turn on. And what we see here on this page, in this top section, the one with the grayish background, I've got some text, image, some decorative stars, and then below this is another Squarespace section. The color changes to the bluish gray, text, image. So, tip number 1. Unless this is an intentional design decision, and frankly, unless you know what you're doing, do not overlap your content blocks. As a beginner, you don't need to overlap blocks, and you may see strange results if you do that. What do I mean by that? With this grid turned on, every time I hover over a piece of content, I see there's a blue box around it. That represents the size that Squarespace is allocating to this piece of content. And so here we're in good shape because none of these blue boxes are overlapping. If, on the other hand, my text box overlaps with my image block, sometimes you might think that looks nice, but you may get unexpected effects, especially on different sizes of screen. So, for example, if I take out some of the longer wording there, that would look okay to the casual observer, but then on different screen sizes, we might find that the image and the text block actually start to compete with each other. So that's tip number 1. Unless you really want the decorative effect of, for example, these stars sort of trailing through an image, I recommend that beginners with Squarespace do not overlap any of your text blocks. Next up, when you edit a piece of content in Squarespace, pay attention to how much space is added to it on your behalf. Now, this often happens inside text blocks. And what I mean by that is at the moment, this text block is quite neatly allocated so that the text ends and then the bottom of the block is not too far below it. If I try to drag the bottom of the block up to make it even neater, you'll see this red line appears, and that's Squarespace telling me, no, this text block does need at least this amount of space. And then let me go ahead and paste back in the other text that I had in here. And now we see that the text block takes up a larger amount of space. Sometimes my clients ask what happens if the text won't fit. Well, Squarespace makes extra space here for you in your section in order that the text that you put in here does fit. Now, let me test and see, can I make this block even neater? No, that is the amount of space that this text block needs. However, if I had any empty lines at the bottom of the block, it would start to take up extra space. It would still not let me tidy up the size of the text block. If that happens to you, you'd need to come in here and edit or remove your empty lines with delete or backspace on your keyboard. And then you can get your text block to be a much neater size and you don't have unwanted empty space at the bottom of your section. What I've seen can happen when my clients are editing text, for some, let me save this, for some unusual reason, I'm not quite sure why, if they come in here and change a word, I have seen Squarespace can sometimes get a bit ambitious. And for some reason, it increases the size of this text block to look something like this. And or I've seen the size of this entire section, the number of grid rows, if you like, can also increase of its own making. And this is a really perfect opportunity for you to come in and insist that the arrangement here is a bit neater, because otherwise, if you save this page and publish the page, you're going to have empty space at the bottom. Now, a bit of empty space, white space is a nice thing, but this is probably too much. So if you've edited, even if you've just added a word and you've seen either the text block get big or the whole section get big, come inside here, get your grid turned on, make sure you've got no blank lines at the end of the text block. If you don't, you should be able to grab the whittle handle and make the text block a much tidier size. And then in turn, low down in the section here, you've got the blue section height handle here. Drag that up. And again, you're tidying up the empty space in your section. This seems to have been a thing in Squarespace. I think it's improved recently, but I'm mentioning this because it's definitely a pitfall. My clients get very confused when they come in here and they change one word and suddenly all this empty space opens up. Third tip for avoiding an unexpected result in Squarespace. Remember, in Fluid Engine, you have a really nice desktop editing view, but mobile view is separate. So let's take a look and see in mobile view how is the text, the picture, and the stars, how is that currently arranged? So I clicked there on mobile view in the top right of my screen. Okay, so what we see here is we've got the text, we've got picture, stars. You might be happy with that. If you're not happy with that, then inside mobile view, you can either click and drag content to where you want it to be, or there is a nice option in mobile view. I've selected this picture of the mountain here. There's a little up arrow and a down arrow that easily lets me rearrange my blocks. So again, watch out for the pitfall where things overlap. This is definitely not going to look great if the mountain is sitting on top of the text. And you want to make sure, of course, that there's a pleasing amount of space in mobile view. Here, again, a good example. This looks okay because the stars are just slightly overlapping with the text. Be aware that sometimes if you do that, different size screens, the stars might begin to argue more with the text than you want. So if in doubt, especially if you're a Squarespace beginner, keep your various content blocks separate from each other. So once again, I'm going to just rearrange so that I've got a picture, some text, a picture. I'll leave the stars down here for now. Now, what my clients tend not to realize is that as their confidence grows and they decide that they want to add a piece of content to this web page, so a good example would be a call to action button. Yeah, I'm finding that really ugly, but I'll leave that as is for now. After you add anything new to your page, so let me do a little piece of text as well. Especially if you've changed your mind and added something that really should feature above the rest of your content. So let's do this. Please, please, please remember to come in and check your mobile view, because on desktop, you may have made an arrangement that you're happy with and that you like, and it all looks very appealing. Mobile view, you might get something different going on. So again, I click on mobile view, I come in here. Squarespace has done a decent job in this case. It has managed to put the headline at the top. Oftentimes I find that new pieces of content kind of appear down here. So you definitely want to come in here and either drag it up or use these handy arrows actually to rearrange content blocks. The button may certainly not be where you would like it. Let's get the button in the middle here. And this is a great example. We've got the button kind of lurking off to the left. That does not look great on mobile. So I would definitely be rearranging things to have my button nicely centered. So important to know, especially when you add a new content block, but generally I would say anytime you edit a page, come inside mobile view and make sure that the layout that you're seeing here is as pleasing as the one that you created inside your desktop view. If that all looks good, then of course you would click Save in the top left. If things have gone wrong, remember you can always abandon your efforts by clicking Exit.